Welcome to CCN News. I am your host, Captivating Christian, and here are some of your top stories for today, January 28, 2020. The coronavirus death toll spikes in China as the U.S. plans to evacuate its citizens from its epicenter. GOP senators privately demanding to know why the White House set them up to take the fall over Bolton's report. A Texas shooting, security guard warns of attacks on the Second Amendment, criticizing Bloomberg. In a 5-4 ruling, the Supreme Court allows Trump plan to deny green cards to those who may need government aid. And in some entertainment news, Jaden Smith congratulates his friend Tyler, the Creator, on Grammy win. America's Got Talent host Terry Crews tweets about only being loyal to his wife amidst Gabrielle Union's drama. Minaj and husband getting dogged by Meek Mills triggered a shouting match. Let's get to the news. Let's talk about this coronavirus. So the number of people known to have died from this new coronavirus in China has jumped over 24 hours. U.S. officials prepared to evacuate Americans from the lockdown epicenter of the epidemic. On Tuesday, the death toll stood at 106, up from 80 a day earlier, according to officials at China's National Health Commission. The numbers of cases have also spiked from 4,515 up to 2,744 on Monday, of which 976 are considered severe. As the Wuhan, the city of 11 million people where the outbreak is believed to have originated, remains on lockdown to contain the virus. The State Department said that it was sending a charter flight to take back U.S. government personnel stationed in the city. The State Department officials told NBC News that as space available on the plane, seats will also be offered to some private U.S. citizens, with priority being given to those who are at most risk of contracting the virus if they remain in Wuhan. As of Monday morning, Republican senators have made no direct comment yet about the bombshell New York Times report revealing that former National Security Advisor John Bolton's allegations that President Donald Trump directly told him that he had tied military aid for Ukraine to the public announcement of an investigation into former Vice President Joe Biden and his family. According to the Times report, Megha Haberman, some Republicans are privately angry with the White House for boxing them into a political corner, with some demanding to know what they knew and when about the manuscript Bolton was going to release. The problem Republicans face now is that they and the president's attorneys have both pushed the talking point that Democrats call for new witnesses is pointless because none of the witnesses are claiming direct knowledge of any corrupt motives behind Trump's administration decision to withhold aid. Now that Bolton is revealing he did, in fact, have knowledge, Republicans hang their hat on skipping the hearing from witnesses and dismissing the trial, and it will be considerably hard to hold together the votes in their caucus to do so. A man who is credited for stopping a shooting during an attack at the church in Texas by opening fire and killing a gunman has sharply criticized a gun control policy forwarded by former New York Mayor Michael Bloomberg. Jack Watson told the Dallas Morning News in an interview that he thinks a gun control plan push by Bloomberg, a 2020 Democratic hopeful, would have left him hopeless to respond to the shooter. He said, and I quote, "If we were operating under Bloomberg's position, we wouldn't have had any guns in there." Wilson told the newspaper the outcome would have been extremely more severe than it was. A spokesperson for Michael Bloomberg's campaign responded to the claim, telling the newspaper that under Bloomberg's proposal, the shooter's criminal history would have prevented him from obtaining a firearm. Mr. Wilson certainly acted bravely, but the killer had a history of violence and mental illness. And under Mike's plan, he would have never had a gun, the spokeswoman said. Bloomberg, who has made gun control a central issue in his 2020 campaign, previously addressed the Texas shooting during an address in Montgomery, Alabama. He said, and I quote, "It may be true that someone in the congregation had its own gun and killed the person who murdered two other people, but it's a job of law enforcement to have guns and to decide when to shoot," the former mayor said at the time, adding, "You just do not want the average citizen carrying a gun in a crowded place." Michael Bloomberg's remarks earned him criticism from President Donald Trump, who tweeted days afterwards, "Now, Mini Mike Bloomberg is critical of Jack Wilson, who saved perhaps hundreds of people in a church because he was carrying a gun and knew how to use it. Jack quickly killed the shooter who was beginning a rampage. Mini is against the Second Amendment. His ads are fake, just like..." The Supreme Court issued an order on Monday allowing the Trump administration to begin enforcing new limits on immigrants who are considered likely to become overly dependent on government benefit programs. The court voted 5-4. Justices Ruth Bader Ginsburg, Stephen Breyer, Sonia Sotomayor, and Elaine Keegan said that they would have left a lower court's ruling in place that blocked enforcement while a legal challenge works its way through the court. The Department of Homeland Security announced in August that it would explain the definition of public charge and to be applied to people whose immigration to the United States could be denied because of the concern that they would primarily depend on the government for their income. To some entertainment news. On Sunday night, Tyler the Creator had a pretty amazing night for the 62nd annual Grammys. He put on an amazing performance, some would say the best performance of the night, and boy were there many, said by some. He picked up a trophy also for Best Rap Album, but felt it was a little bit of a backhanded compliment, but it still was a cause for celebration. Jaden Smith, however, tweeted, "My boyfriend won a Grammy. Girls say what?" We've done the whole Jaden Smith and Tyler the Creator thing back in 2018. If you all recall, Smith went to Tyler's festival camp in Los Angeles and professed that Tyler was his motherfucking boyfriend for a whole life. He followed up with a tweet saying that there was no need to deny it anymore, and it seemed a little bit outdated, an overdone joke. Now, the years later, he seemed to have brought it back. Tyler, for one, confessed the world in regards to his sexuality for some time. For years, he seems to troll us all, winking or playing at being gay or throwing it up, saying just kidding disclaimers. But recently, that JK has fallen away. Take that time he told, "I like girls. I just end up fucking their brother every time." Maybe Willow can shed some light on the situation. And in other entertainment news, America's Got Talent Terry Crews responds to Gabrielle Union. So last week, it seems that Gabrielle Union shot back at Terry Crews after he spoke out about their exit from America's Got Talent. Crews, 51, posted a series of cryptic tweets on Monday after experiencing backlash, for his comments about Gabrielle Union's controversial departure as a judge from America's Got Talent. "I'm a hog. You're a chicken," the America's Got Talent host wrote. "Just 'cause you gave me eggs don't mean I owe you bacon." A few hours later, he also tweeted about remaining loyal to his wife, Rebecca King Crews, saying that she is the only woman he has to please. "There's only one woman on earth I have to please," he wrote. "Her name is Rebecca. Not my mother, not my sister, not my daughters or co-workers. I will let their husbands, boyfriends, and partners take care of them. Rebecca gives me wings," he wrote. The tweet came days after Union seamlessly fired back at Crews after he joked about her exit. During an interview on the third hour of Today, he said he never experienced any of Union's reported allegations of racial insensitivity and a toxic culture at the show. He said, "First of all, I can't speak for sexism because I'm not a woman, but I can speak on behalf of any racist comments, he said, or racism comments, he said. That was never my experience. In fact, it was the most diverse place I have ever been in my 20 years of entertainment." And in other entertainment news, Nicki Minaj and her husband got into a nasty stare down by Meek Mills, and that's what started this epic shouting match. Sources closest to the situation told TMZ that Nicki and her husband, Kenneth Petty, had barely walked into the high-end store Maxfield in WeHo last weekend when Meek immediately gave them a nasty stare down. Like anyone running into an ex, Nicki and Keith took offense when Meek was giving them dirty looks, and that's what triggered the shouting match. Other sources say that Nicki and Keith did not approach Meek by any means. The couple just happened to cross paths when they walked into the store. This, of course, disputes Meek's side of the story, as was first reported that the Champions rapper said that Nicki and her husband approached him and started getting loud. Other sources say that Meek is so petty that he seamlessly mocks Keith, who back in March was shown at a carnival hitting a boxing machine arcade game. Meek followed suit several months, even taking smacks to a punching bag. So this has been going on for some time, guys, and I'll keep you posted on the latest. It is also saying that some sources say that Meek Mills is obsessed with Nicki Minaj, even though she has moved on. So let me know what your thoughts are on watching and listening to CCN News. As always, please be the change that you want to see. So if you want change, you have to be that change. The change begins with you. Thank you for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe. Once again, I am your host, Captivating Christian, and thanks for watching.